know what you're doing all the time on that, or were you just trying to block it, or would you realize at some point that, hey, wait a minute, I have a chance to score?
No, I didn't think that at all. I was just trying to get my stick on the puck and just, do that all the time, and the puck doesn't bounce that way or, end up in the net. So, just kind of was in the right spot and got a good bounce there.
Playing between Patrick and Carl there, just how's that been for the game or so?
It's been good. I mean, both guys are really good on the forecheck. Obviously, Haggie's got a lot of speed and can create a lot with that push D-men back, and he's able to create a lot of space with speed. So, I think, Horny kind of does the same thing no matter who he plays with, goes in that hard, and he's on loose pucks. So I think all three of us just try to work hard, create turnovers, and get to the net quick.
Have you ever played with someone as fast as Carl for a substantial amount of time on a line?
I'm trying to think of, Duper's pretty quick. I mean, Hossa was pretty quick. I played with him. There have definitely been some guys that I've played with some speed, so it's important to know, what side of the ice they're on, because they can get behind defenders pretty quick, and if they don't, then they usually back them off. So, you definitely have to be aware of just making sure you find him when he's able to beat guys. Usually when he's even with somebody, there's a pretty good chance he's going to eventually beat them.
So when you get into these matchups that we sort of hype up, McDavid tomorrow, you've had him in the past with other guys, whoever, Stamkos, Tavares, whatever. Do you find is it fun for you personally, or is it a distraction from what you're trying to do, or neither?
Yeah, I think, once you get out there, I think that's the best part. I think the competitive side kind of takes over, and there's matchups every night like that. Some aren't talked about as much as others, but there's some that, personally you feel like are a bit more of a matchup than maybe other people think, just because of history or what you expect against certain guys. So I think that competition is why you play. That's what you love about the game. But some are talked about more than others, and obviously tomorrow night will be one that's talked about a little more. But at the end of the day, you're going out there trying to get 2 points, and they all mean the same. But you definitely understand the situation.
So what makes David such a special player? You've seen him play.
I think just his speed stands out the most. I think that allows him to do so many other things, but he sees the ice really well, strong on the puck. But I think just his hockey sense and his speed, probably the biggest things, I think.
You were his favorite player when he was a kid, so obviously I'm sure he'll be excited to see you. When you think back to when you were young, was there anyone you were particularly interested as a rookie to face off against or to see out there?
Yeah, a couple guys. I remember I always wanted to play against Steve Yzerman, and I think unfortunately he got hurt the game before. I ended up playing against the Wings that time, so I didn't end up playing against him. But Peter Forsberg was another guy that, growing up I really liked to watch, and got a pretty hard lesson, I think. One of the first couple times I played him, I was -5, so I think I was watching him a little too much that night. But we saw them a lot. You played your divisional team 8 times,
right.
So he was in Philly, so I saw him a lot and learned pretty quick that now I've got to compete against him, not necessarily watch him. So that was fun.
Did you remember one of those subtle, less talked about, less publicized matchups that you enjoyed that might surprise people?
Well, I just, when you talk about matchups, not even individual guys, but I remember playing against Ottawa, especially early on when they had Chara and Volchenkov and Phillips, and, these guys were no demon I'd really played against in the past. Huge guys that were physical, and, I just remember getting up for those games knowing that, you had to earn every inch ice out there, and I got excited for that. So I think that, there's always matchups, like I said, head-to-head, but kind of those small little games within the game. Zetterberg, I've seen him over the years, and guys that every night are going to compete and make you earn whatever you get.
Sid, guys get identified now at such a young age, some of the guys like McDavid and Austin Matthews. Did guys ever reach out to you even before they get in the league to kind of find out what they might be in for as that number one pick?
No, not really. I think everybody has to do what works for them, and obviously when you're young you might have questions, but I think guys have enough players on their own teams that they can seek advice from, or I think the biggest thing is just learning on the fly. Seeing what works for you, and depends on your personality, that kind of thing. But I think the most important thing is you remember what got you to this point and trust that it'll give you success.
Have you played like with and against Connor at all? Like in any kind of like Team Canada setting or anything
No,
at all?
no.
What's the most
I'm
you've
old.
been around him?
I'm old. I mean, I've crossed paths with him just through World Cup and World Junior Team Canada events, that kind of thing. But yeah, I just never not on the ice. Yeah.
Does it seem like time has passed very quickly to where we're having this conversation with you? What's it going to be like for 19-year-old Connor McDavid? Does it seem like sort of not that long ago that wondering what 18-year-old Sidney Crosby was going to be like when he played Forsberg or whatever?
Yeah, it's a little different. I mean, that's what typically it would be. Was that way, but it changes. That's life, and I think it's a challenge either way, and you get excited for that competition. But yeah, I think you're probably used to being on the other side of it. It's kind of different.